Hello and welcome to the Monaco Grand Prix notebook. I want to start with this picture here with me and Graham Loudon. It was an absolutely amazing job today from Marussia, scoring their first points of the season. They scored 2 points so far with Jules Bianchi today, so it was great. They did have a 8th place finish, but with their 5-second penalty it saw them go down to 9th place. But what an achievement that is for the team and Jules Bianchi. Okay, so as you know, F1Breakdown myself was in Monaco for this week's Grand Prix, and so what you're going to see is just the pictures from the swimming pool complex, because that is where I was during the notebook, and then at the end we will stop and I will play the video so you can actually hear what the engines sound like at the end. So we'll talk about that at the end of the thing, but you'll hear the engines of the cars that went round over Monaco, so you'll get to have an actual opinion on the sound if some of you haven't actually been to a Grand Prix this year so far. So, Mercedes. First things first, I thought Nico did make a mistake. It wasn't a deliberate thing like Michael Schumacher back in 2006 where he stopped at Rascasse. I think Nico did make a mistake, but he must have immediately known once he pulled off to the side road at Mirabeau that he was on pole position, because once the yellow flags was out, that was it. Qualifying was over, so where everyone was, if everyone had to go through that sector like Hamilton did, you couldn't improve on your time. You had to drop at least 0.2 of a second, but that's, too much when you're pushing for it flat out in qualifying. But, however, the race itself between Hamilton and Rosberg was great. It was very intense. The concentration levels to be within a second throughout the whole race. Concentration-wise, make sure you don't slip up, is absolutely amazing from both sets of drivers. But it was a shame Lewis had his vision problems, but yet again, still another 1-2 for Mercedes, and they are romping away. They're going to have the Constructors' points championship tied up by Hungary, Belgium, Spa time. But I think going off from Mercedes, it leads me beautifully on to third place man Daniel Ricciardo, who yet again was doing excellent to finish third. And shame that Vettel lost his turbo, which caused his retirement, because he lost all the energy from the turbo, which caused him to slow down. But Daniel Ricciardo had a poor start, lost the position to Raikkonen, but then inherited the third place back when Raikkonen had his problems, which I'll get onto in a minute. But yet again, and then Ricciardo just came and hassled Lewis Hamilton at the end of the race, which is amazing to see. And I saw Daniel Ricciardo over the Monaco Grand Prix, said hi to him, and you'll see a picture of that later on in this podcast. But I just want to move on now quickly to Ferrari. Alonso in a race of his own, but Raikkonen had a great race but a poor outcome. Raikkonen's start was amazing, to be fair. He got Ricciardo on the outside. Vettel had a not too bad start either, getting past Ricciardo. I know Ricciardo had a bad start, but it was a good start from Raikkonen. But it was a shame Max Chilton went into the back of him, which caused him to have a flat rear tyre on the right, I believe it was, under safety car conditions, when Chilton was trying to overtake Kimi Raikkonen when they were allowing lap cars pass, which then caused Raikkonen to have a puncture into the pit lane and allowed Daniel Ricciardo to put third, and kind of ended the race for Kimi Raikkonen, although he did have a great battle, and at the end with Kevin Magnussen, it was a great move, but he just ran out of space, and then they ended up both being still under investigation at the podcast, as the podcast is going on as I speak. But I don't think anything can come with that, because they didn't touch, it just ran out of room, basically. So it wasn't really causing a collision, because no one actually crashed into anything. Well, you could say they crashed into a wall, but they just ran out of space, which was a shame. But they both got going again, and that ultimately left to Jules Bianchi getting the points, because Magnussen had to change his front wing because he went into the wall a bit too hard. So did Raikkonen, and that led to Jules Bianchi being able to drop back only one position and gain 2 points, which is an amazing achievement for Marussia, as I said earlier. Moving now on to McLaren. McLaren okay. Magnussen and Jenson Button had a very decent race, but due to retirements, that's why they were quite high up in the point scoring positions, because the Williams of Bottas was ahead of them. Where would the Perez come? The 2 Toro Rossos. So where will McLaren outside of the points during the race, but due to the retirements, they managed to get a few more places. I know that's the same with Marussia, but it's a completely different story. Marussia, everyone's happy. We're still, trying to see where McLaren are. But you never know. Canada in 2 weeks' time is also a very highly prone to retirements in that Grand Prix. So they might be able to, if they don't retire in that Grand Prix themselves. But they may struggle if there is no retirements, because McLaren seem to be the worst Mercedes engine-powered teams. So you'd expect Force India to do well, Williams to do well, Mercedes to do well. So that's 6 cars. So that's the top 6 places with Red Bull. So that's 8 places. So, will McLaren be fighting for 9th or 10th in Canada? Probably will be about right for the Montreal Grand Prix. But you never know. As I said, Canada does have a quite high DNF rate. So you might be able to actually move on and actually everything will be okay. Williams, massive strategy, did work. He finished 7th from 16th, but Bottas had an engine failure, obviously, which we know was wrong, as there were a couple of laps before his engine actually went kaput. His times were just completely gone. So not a good day for Bottas, but Massa coming from 16th to 7th at Monaco. That long first stint on the super soft tyres, he had to do that, and Force India with Hulkenberg, who I'm moving on to in a sec, did exactly the same. So I move on to Hulkenberg, yet again another great performance to finish in 5th. Just keeping off Jenson Button on those very worn super soft tyres at that stage, because he did over 50 laps on those super soft tyres, pitting in on the safety car conditions. So that keeps him 5th in the championship at the moment, and Force India 4th in the Constructors' Championship, which is great for Force India at the moment. So lots going on at the moment with Lotus. They got more points with Grosjean, but finished behind the Marussia if you take the penalty away. So they were still behind Jules Bianchi. There was just the position profited from an extra 4 points for that. And Maldonado obviously had engine problems and could not start the race. But you just have to think to yourself, with Maldonado, I'm still questioning whether or not he won't be replaced. I just have a feeling if you were a team where Lotus wasn't actually looking at money, maybe they might replace Maldonado. But considering Maldonado's giving them all the money, he's not being replaced. I'm not saying obviously none fault of his own for what he's done, but obviously he's just still not there. He's still not with it, even with the practice session and the qualifying session. He's still, not as quick as Grosjean. But we'll see. Toro Rosso had a double retirement as well, so not good for them, and which was a shame because both drivers performed excellently throughout the whole weekend. Both in Q3, so amazing for them. So Sauber had another poor weekend and are now in 10th in the championship. So they need a good, solid points soon, but you don't know where that's coming from for Sauber. They're now 10th in the championship behind Marussia. They don't look like they're going to score points. I know Gutierrez was up there, but he made a mistake. He's still getting on. There was a bit of a clumsy error, but a very easy error to make from Esteban Gutierrez. And what can you say for Adrian Stittil? Very experienced, got caught out on the bump. Sauber, they're still in their race of their own, which is a shame for them. But they really need to now get some points from somewhere, because it'd be a travesty if they only pick up 1 point or 2 points. Because if they pick up 2 points, they need to pick up 3 points to be ahead of Marussia, because Marussia got the 2 points first. So they need 3 points from somewhere, which is, for Sauber, is doable. I'm not saying that's not doable for Sauber, but now they have to think, oh my god, Marussia have got points. We need to go there, and we need to get points, and we need to get points fast to make sure we do not finish 10th, because that's the last place where Sauber will want to be finishing. And moving on finally to Caterham. So they have reports that they are up for sale, sadly, by Tony Fernandez for £350 million. Ericsson today finished in 11th, and I really hope someone does buy Caterham, because it's always a sad sight to see, like when HRT went up for sale, well, let's hope someone buys them and try and move that team forward. It's a shame Caterham are going to be up for sale. I don't know if it's officially up for sale, but there is talk from Malaysia that he is putting them up for sale. So more news to come on that surely on the F1Breakdown website. But I hope someone does buy Caterham. They're a good outfit. there's a lot of jobs on the line there, and that's what you talk about. You're talking about people's incomes, people's jobs, and we don't really want Caterham to, be out of the sport. We would rather have someone buy them so those jobs are safe, because at the moment it'd be, squeaky bum time at Caterham in terms of jobs. Are they going to be there next season? So I really hope someone does buy the team for Caterham's sake. Now, we're going to, as I kind of rush through the notebook quickly, because now we're going to go and listen to a few videos from the grandstand where I was at swimming pool. So I was watching them going to come in from swimming pool and exit swimming pool, and I will be back for a sum up of what you hear. So the engines that you'll hear the Formula Renault, Formula 1, GP2 and Porsche Super Cup. I will be back in a couple of minutes to have a sum up, and we'll decide which is the louder engine. Why is Formula 1 engine really quiet? and we'll talk from that and we'll see how it is. So I shall be back. Hello, and we're back, but sadly we couldn't actually fit the videos into the podcast video. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to create a new video and we'll upload the engine noise for those videos. There won't be any talking through it, but you can make your own decision and we'll have a discuss about it next time of what engine you think is louder. So thank you for joining us for this podcast. Please remember to like, favourite and subscribe to F1 Breakdown, and we will see you very soon in Canada in 2 weeks' time, actually. So bye for now.